This is Jeff Romley, and today we'll be talking about the country of Belize and their attempts to reach the seventh Millennium Development Goal, which is environmental sustainability. Right now, Belize is facing three main challenges as far as environmental sustainability. Goes, the first of which is deforestation. Second would be urbanization, and the third would be water pollution. Starting off with deforestation. The analysis used by NASA's Landsat 7 imagery to compare forest cover between early 2010 and early 2012 concludes that Belize's forest cover fell from 62.7% to 61.6% during that 2-year period, which is a decline of 25,264 hectares. The annual loss of 12,632 hectares is more than a quarter higher than the rate observed between 1980 and 2010, when deforestation averaged about 10,000 hectares per year. Thus, deforestation is beginning to decline dramatically and beginning to increase dramatically and have severe effects on the rest of the environment. Here we see some deforestation that has happened. It happened right next to the city of Orange Walk, which is a relatively large city. The deforestation affects the water. It impedes the filtration of heavy metal from the soil, so that ends up getting washed into the water. And then when people in these cities eat the fish or animals that live off of this water source, they become poisoned through by these heavy metals. Another case of deforestation is right here. This area, which was once a huge rainforest, is now completely wiped out and almost left barren by deforestation. Here's another example. We see the contrast between the rainforest and the parts that have been cut down. And a lot of the problem comes from the neighboring country of Guatemala. There's been some disputes as far as territory goes, and there's a lot of Guatemalan squatters who come in. Right here is the country of Guatemala, and we see how a lot of the deforestation just abruptly stops at the lines of Guatemala, but there have been people encroaching on Belizean territory and cutting down trees as well. They say that they have the right to do that. Moving with urbanization, Belize is a developing country, but it has exploited a lot of tourism to get income. Belize City is very, very, very populated. It has a population of about 57,000 people. It's the largest city in Belize. There are a lot of negative effects that come with overpopulation. Some of that is just lack of food, poor air quality, unsustainable and high demand for oil, gas, and other fuel, detrimental damages to the ozone layer, and detrimental damages to the ozone layer. It also puts a strain on the forest and ocean as well, because they need these resources to sustain these people. In addition to being very, very high resource consumption, having a high resource consumption, there is a lot of pollution that comes from these cities. The city of Belmopan is the capital. It affects greatly the Belize River, which is found right next around the boundaries of the city. We'll talk about that a little bit later. A couple more examples of urbanization and the toll it's taking. Spanish Lookout. Here we've got very, very little land used. You see all the open space compared to all the green around it. And then one last example is the city of San Pedro. It's an example of urbanization taking place right on the waterfront on a small island, there's absolutely no room for growth. It is completely full, and it is affecting the water and the ocean because of the poor filtration or water treatment and poor sewage. Water in Belize is becoming contaminated slowly but surely. Starting off with the Belize River, due to the river having soil and liquid waste management issues, it's resulted in polluting the Belize River severely. This can be seen through the overflowing landfills and also causes natural resource degradation and in addition to raising health implications. The Belize River is so polluted that you can see how nasty it is from planes as you fly above. Another example, in the large city of Belize is Haulover Creek. It is a small stream river that goes through the entire city. It has been noted by tourists to see feces floating down the river, as well as dead animals and all kinds of trash and garbage. All that flows out into Vibe. And in addition to the garbage, there's also a lot of pesticide which affects the animal life and all the wildlife around there in the ocean and on the land, which in turn affects the people living in the city. Like mentioned before, deforestation in Orange Walk has affected the amount of heavy metal found in the river and therefore affects the people living in the city. And the last example of water pollution would be the Belize Barrier Reef. Belize has the second largest barrier reef to Australia. Coral reefs are very, very, very sensitive to any type of chemical change, and scientists have noted that due to the pollution from the country, the barrier reef itself is being affected slowly. These threats are not only isolated to the country of Belize. Deforestation is actually most prominent in the country of Belize, country of Brazil. Second, in Brazil, Brazil is the country with the most deforestation, followed by Indonesia, and then the Russian Federation, followed by Mexico afterwards, which is